All right, welcome. Today we're going to dive deep into something, well, something that's happening inside all of us right now. We're talking about the architecture of our own minds. You know, that constant dance between our consciousness, the truth that's always seeking, the ego that, let's be honest, often runs the show, and, most importantly, the incredible power we have to choose our own path.
So, the source material we're digging into today really boils down to one huge question. What's the relationship between our consciousness, this idea of ultimate truth, and our power to choose wisely, what the text calls discernment?
Okay, so first things first. We've got to get a handle on the two basic states of being that are laid out here. And what's interesting is they aren't presented as friends or allies. Not at all. They're total polar opposites. You've got our everyday run-of-the-mill consciousness on one side, and then you have capital T truth on the other.
So what exactly is this state of consciousness? The source actually calls it ashuddha cetana, or impure consciousness. And really, it's just that basic feeling we all have. I exist and the world exists. That's it. It's the whole ocean of our day-to-day experience. And think about it. Just like an ocean, it's always moving, it's full of duality. You know, me and you, this and that. And there's this constant nagging feeling of being, well, incomplete.
And truth? Well, truth is the destination. It's the shore that this restless ocean of our consciousness is constantly trying to wash up on. It's the total opposite of consciousness, a state of wholeness, non-duality, and perfect absolute stillness. It's the deep rest that our mind is craving, whether we know it or not.
And this comparison here, it just lays out the core conflicts so perfectly. Look at it. Consciousness is all about motion, duality, and that feeling of being incomplete. Truth is its perfect mirror image. Rest, non-duality, and completeness. You could say the entire journey of our inner life is basically trying to get from the left column over to the right.
The source material just boils it all down to this one incredibly simple but powerful statement. Movement means consciousness. Rest means truth. Seriously, if you take away just one thing about this whole distinction, let it be that. Okay, so if consciousness is the stage, who's the main actor? Well, that's where the ego steps in. We really have to understand the role it's playing because it's sitting right smack in the center of this whole internal drama. Now, what I find really fascinating here is how the ego's job is defined. The ego is the one doing the perceiving. It's that little I at the center of your consciousness that experiences everything. It's the one that names things, forms relationships, and this is the big one. It slaps labels on everything. Good, bad, right, wrong. It's basically our internal narrator and our internal judge all rolled into one. But here's the thing. The ego isn't just a passive observer, just taking in information. Nope. It has this profound power, a tool that can literally change everything. And that tool is called discernment, the power to choose your path directly.
And this is absolutely crucial. This power of discernment, it isn't automatic. It's optional. In any given moment, the ego can choose to use it, or it can just let it sit there, gathering dust. That single choice right there is where our real freedom is found.
And that choice always presents two basic paths. Path number one is the wise path. You choose the most direct, simple route to that state of rest we're calling truth. And then there's path number two, the unwise path. You choose the complicated, roundabout way, mostly because it feels more clever or sophisticated. But why on earth would anyone choose the complicated path? Well, the ego just loves to feel smart. It tells itself this little story. Ah, that direct path? That's too simple, too easy. Anyone could do that. My way? My way is clever. It's complex. It must be better. And that right there is the great trap of the intellect.
All right, so let's say we see that trap for what it is, and we actually want to choose the direct path. How is that choice even measured? I mean, it's not a one-and-done deal. The source gives us two very clear rules for this.
And this is so important to get. It's not like flipping a switch and you're done. No, it's a continuous practice, and it's measured by two really critical factors. So rule number one is intensity. Basically, how much real power is behind your choice. The source uses this fantastic analogy. If you choose truth half-heartedly, it's like you're just loosely holding a towel. The second an obstacle shows up, poof, you drop it. But a choice with real intensity, that possesses you. It's got conviction, it's got energy. And then there's rule number two. Frequency. Because look, intensity doesn't mean much without consistency. The real question is, how often are you choosing that direct path? You know, in the hundreds of little decisions you make every single day. Choosing the right way once or twice and patting yourself on the back, that's not the point. The real practice is in the repetition, over and over again.
This brings us to our final point, and it might just be the most profound insight in this whole explainer. It's a concept that completely flips our usual way of thinking upside down. The idea that truth has no reason.
Now, to get this, let's start with the opposite. Think about any foolish thing you've ever seen someone do. Or, hey, let's be honest, that you've done yourself. No matter how absurd it looks from the outside, there is always a reason for it.
And what's that reason? It's always the ego and its own self-interest, right? Someone acts foolishly to protect their pride, or to get something, or to satisfy some desire. There's always a why, and that why is always rooted in the self.
And here it is. This is the punchline. The quote says it all. In reality, only truth is baseless. See, unlike every single action that's driven by the ego, a truly right action, it doesn't have a self-serving reason tucked away behind it. It just doesn't need one.
And that's the core distinction, right there. A true act is its own justification. If you can point to a motive, if you can say, I'm doing this in order to get that, then you know it's an act of the ego, not of truth. A true act doesn't serve a why. It just is.
So all of this leaves us with a very direct and, honestly, a very personal question. Knowing that you have this optional power of discernment and knowing about the two paths it lays out for you in every single moment, which path are you going to choose today? The simple and direct one or the complicated and clever one? The choice, as always, is yours.